The X-Men are responding to a distress signal sent from Iron Man's workshop. They arrive to find it empty, although it does look like there has been a scuffle. Suddenly, a vortex opens up, and out of the vortex appear 6 costumed strangers. They mistake the X-Men for the villains who transported them to another world, and begin their assault. This is a 500-point X-Men vs. Justice League solo play video. If you're not familiar with the solo play rules, make sure that you watch the intro to the Heroclix solo play rules video available on my YouTube channel. I recommend you do that if you're not familiar with the solo play rules, as there may be some rules here that are new or unfamiliar to you. With the Justice League going first, they roll a 4 and a 2 for their deployment roll and begin consulting frontline finesse. Zatanna carries Black Canary into obscuring terrain, while Green Lantern perplexes his speed up to be able to carry Batman and the Green and Red Arrow into position. The X-Men roll a 5 and a 3, but they get a +3 bonus thanks to the 3 characters with leadership, so they get unrestricted operations. Emma Frost perplexes Bishop's speed, while Professor X perplexes Bishop's attack, Emma Frost, Cyclops, Storm's defense, and his own defense too. Bishop uses Running Shot with Energy Explosion, but rolls a 5, misses Zatanna by 1. Cyclops takes a Team Probability Control token, which helps Bishop roll an 11. However, Zatanna uses her own Probability Control, and Bishop rerolls a 6, which is still enough to hit. Zatanna rolls a 3 for Super Senses, so both Zatanna and Black Canary take 2 damage. Storm then uses Running Shot, targeting Black Canary with Energy Explosion. Hits. Black Canary uses Team Probability Control token. This time Storm misses, which causes Professor X to get his own Team Probability Control token. And the reroll is a 10, which hits Zatanna and Black Canary, and they both take 2 damage. Cyclops uses Running Shot, targeting Black Canary, but misses. Cyclops takes pushing damage as well. Professor X moves to become adjacent to Storm and takes 1 pushing damage. I move Professor X here in case Batman tries to outwit Storm's energy shield deflection, as his Outsmart feat may be able to counter Batman's Outwit. Emma Frost moves to pick up the Mass Absorber and circles back to Cyclops in case she's able to hit the leadership roll the following turn. The Justice League roll a 5 and a 4 for deployment, meaning that they have to consult frontline firepower. Here I was hoping I wouldn't get frontline firepower, as I was initially hoping to use Red Arrow to lay down some hindering terrain smoke markers for Batman, which would allow Batman to use his Out of the Shadows special power. However, with frontline firepower, that means I have to act with Green Lantern first and work my way down. So I use Green Lantern to TK Batman into another piece of hindering terrain that's closer to Bishop. Batman then uses Outwit to outwit Bishop's energy shield deflection. He then declares a ranged attack on Bishop and uses his Out of the Shadows special power to jump forward and make the attack. After rolling a 9 for attack, Bishop takes 3 damage. Green Lantern then perplexes Red Arrow's attack by +1. Red Arrow then uses Running Shot, targeting Storm. Unfortunately, he rolls a 4 and misses. Green Arrow then uses Running Shot on Professor X, rolls an 8, and hits for 3 damage. Zatanna and Black Canary clear their action tokens. The X-Men's deployment roll, they get a 2 and a 1, but they still get a +2 bonus thanks to their leadership. This leads them to frontline finesse, which Storm and Emma both fail their leadership rolls. Emma Frost then perplexes Professor X's defense by +1, and they all clear. And for the Justice League deployment roll, they get a 6 and a 2, which lets them have unrestricted operations. Zatanna moves to enhance Red Arrow. Green Lantern perplexes Red Arrow's attack by +1. Red Arrow uses Ranged Combat Expert. He uses it to buff his attack by +1, giving him a total of +3 to attack Storm. And since he's got willpower, he won't take any pushing damage. He rolls a 7 and hits for 3 damage. Green Arrow then pushes to attack Storm, rolls a 7. Storm uses a Team Probability Control token. The reroll is an 8 and he still hits for 3. Batman then outwits Bishop's ranged combat expert, and Black Canary moves to tie up Emma Frost and Cyclops. Both Batman and Green Lantern clear. For the X-Men's deployment roll, they get a 4 and a 3, with only a +1 to their bonus roll this time, since they only have one character with leadership showing on their dial. They get frontline firepower, which allows Professor X then to go first and target Green Arrow for an attack. The roll is too low and he misses. Emma Frost then uses a close action to use the object Mass Absorber on Black Canary, rolls double 3s and hits, and KOs Black Canary. Cyclops does nothing, waiting for the Batman to get closer. Emma Frost perplexes Cyclops' defense by +1, and Storm clears her action token. On the Justice League's deployment roll, they get a 6 and a 3, giving them unrestricted operations once again. Green Lantern leads the charge using Running Shot Energy Explosion on Storm and rolls a 7 to hit. Storm uses another Team probability control token, but Green Lantern still rolls double 3s to hits and KOs Storms. And this also hits Professor X for 2 since it was Energy Explosion. Batman uses his Out of the Shadows special power to attack Bishop, rolls a 9, makes Bishop take 2 damage, and he outwits Bishop's outwit. Green Lantern then perplexes Batman's defense by +1. Green Arrow, Zatanna, and Red Arrow clear. On the X-Men's turn, they roll a 5 and a 3 with the +1 bonus they get unrestricted operations. Bishop, Emma Frost both move and push this turn. Cyclops moves as well. The plan here is to get the Batman to push and hopefully get him off of those outwit clicks. Professor X clears his action tokens and pass the turn. On the Justice League's turn, they roll a 6 and a 1 on their deployment rolls, and they get another unrestricted operations. Green Lantern perplexes his damage, uses Running Shot targeting Professor X and Bishop, rolls a 6, which is enough to hit Bishop and KO him. Batman outwit Emma Frost invulnerability. Green Arrow uses Ranged Combat Expert to get +2 damage, rolls an 8 and hits Emma Frost for 4 damage. Zatanna moves to enhance Red Arrow. Red Arrow uses Running Shot targeting Professor X, rolls an 8 to hit. Professor X uses a Team probability control token, but now he rolls double 4s, which is still enough to hit, and Professor X fails his Super Senses rolls and gets knocked out. Batman clears his action token, and that ends a turn for the Justice League. And on the X-Men's turn, they roll double 1s. And with Storm, Bishop, and Professor X KO'd, that leaves them under the 50% threshold that they need to stay in the game, and unfortunately the X-Men are routed. Welcome to the post-battle analysis with Casual Clixing. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about. The first one was about having a strategy with the team that you plan to play and sticking to it. Similar to the videos that I put out before I do the actual playthrough, where I explain the purpose and the role of every character on the team. And that's something that I recommend for anyone who's interested in trying out the Heroclix solo play rules. As I've read some of the comments where you find it hard to separate yourself from the teams. So if one of your favorite teams is playing against a different team, you may play biased against the opposing team. That's why I recommend to make the strategies beforehand, stick to them as best as you can, because as you saw in this one, I tried to stick to the strategy as best as I could, but there was one time when the Justice League got the role that I didn't want them to get, and that caused me to just completely change up the strategy. And the other thing is that regardless of what team I'm playing, I play aggressively. It's a solo game. I'm not trying to win anything. I'm just trying to test out the powers and the abilities of the characters themselves and the teams. So maybe try doing those things next time you want to try out the solo Heroclix rules. And if you want to get the rules, you can find them on my website, Casual Clixing. You can find the link in the description below. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was the leadership bonuses that the X-Men were getting. That is something that I do want to continue with the crossover series, in that I'm going to continue making one team with 2, but preferably 3 characters with leadership, and against another team that's still within the same sets that I've already reviewed for the top 10. So that'll be its own specific thing, and that way you can watch the teams evolve as the series progress. And as far as the testing goes, if you go back and watch the other video, me determining to use 2 or 3 characters with leadership in one team and the other one without leadership, it's something that I'm trying to find out to see if the deployment orders are too powerful, meaning that if you stack leadership on a team, does it bring your chances of winning up? And it does look that way, because even though the X-Men were supposed to be the team that had the leadership roles, the Justice League actually rolled 3 unrestricted operations compared to the X-Men's 2. And incidentally, the Justice League team was the one that won as well. I'm not saying that there is a coincidence, maybe it's working the way it's intended to be working, because obviously you want to get unrestricted operations so you can play your turn out however, according to the strategy that you set up beforehand. That's my advice to those that want to give these rules a try or a go, or a second go, like I mentioned. If it's something that has put you off, that you can't separate yourself from the teams, try my advice to see if that works for you. Well, this has been Casual Clixin. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Casual Clixin. And as always, thank you so much for watching.